start. A very good evening to everyone. On the behalf of Team Indictrans, I am pleased to welcome you all in today's session. ERP Next Unboxed, no buzz, just ERP Next that works. I'm Sejal, working as a marketing lead in Indictrans, and this session is designed to give you a practical and structured understanding of why it's truly take to implement ERP Next successfully. Whether you are in planning phase, mid-implementation, or looking to optimize an existing setup, this webinar will bring clarity, structure, and insight to your ERP Next journey. Our today's speaker is Mr. Sumit Yadav, a highly experienced functional expert with a strong track record in ERP Next implementation across multi-industries. Sumit will walk through us the end-to-end ERP Next implementation life cycle, common pitfalls and how to avoid them, best practices for a smooth go live, and a brief live Q&A session towards the end. Before we begin, just a quick note. If you have any questions during the presentation, please drop them in the chat with your email ID. If you wouldn't be able to answer, we will try our best to address as many as Q&A possible. So yes, thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin. Over to you, Sumit.
Thank you, Sejal. Thank you for warm welcome. Very good evening, everyone. So let's begin. Myself, Sumit Singh Yadav, and I am working as a functional consultant at Indictrans. I will be host for your today's session, and our topic is ERPNext Unboxed. Sejal, can you confirm my screen is visible?
Yes, it is visible.
So our agenda will be, we are going to cover in this session, why implementation fails, visualize real scenario, 6-month implementation strategy, documentations, right way to implement ERP, path to go live with a Q&A session, and a thank you. So everyone might be looking, what is ERPNext Unboxed? No buzzword, just ERPNext. From couple of days, we are running this on LinkedIn and various places. So ERPNext Unboxed, the term we choose because whenever we talk about the right implementation process, we always listen about the fancy terms or something, market hype, like it is a very digitalized system, it's easy to use, and a fleshy terms that your business can be completely transformed. But actually, what the implementation should be, no one talks about that. So this session is completely based on our learnings and real world implementation. From that, we are bringing the best of the best content, which is help us to deliver the project in a better way, in the best stipulated timelines, what works and what doesn't. Why implementation fail? So there are certain reasons whenever we are implementing ERP Next anywhere in any organization. So majorly many things will be involved, but few of the key points which need to be very much focused. First, that is poor planning or no planning at all. What I mean by this, poor planning, once we are onboarding any project and the implementation stage starts, over there, we have to make a timelines. We need to clear our vision for next couple of 4 months, 6 months, how we are going to derive our process, phase-wise, module-wise, everything. If plan A doesn't work, we should be ready with a plan B that can make up to our plan A. Unreliable data and facts. So once implementation starting, you would be requiring a fact, business knowledge, process knowledge from the client. At that particular point, you are going to get a lots of data from the client, which is having a no real world sense related to implementation process. but still you are going through those documents, studying, trying to getting the facts out of that. So that's something where we are wasting our time. We should focus on the reliable data, structured data, which can actually help our implementation process. Third, business process are not correct. So any organization, when they are working on some legacy system software and running for a couple of years, there might be loopholes or the process which they are not following in a right direction. As a consultant, as a business analyst, implementation engineer, when you are approaching, you are going into a CRP session, you are getting the complete in and out information of their business at that particular point. If something is wrong, you need to make them correct. So that's how where the process which is not aligned till now, that you can make it align. Again, if you are going with the same flow, same process, we don't know till next 5 years, 10 years, till what expected time they are going to implement this ERP, going with this ERP. Both top management not involved or did not commit to the project. So here will be a two case. One from the vendor perspective, another will be the from client perspective. From the client perspective, we'll talk. Client has appointed a spoke to the vendors. The implementation team is continuously coordinating with that spoke. Spoke knows in and out of the business, every detailed information, whatever is required, is delivering. But it is majorly important that the higher management or the stakeholders should be get involved into the review meetings, look for the timeline, and on timely basis they need to conduct a steering committee meeting. So the project can be on the same page or it can be aligned. From the vendor perspective, it's important part for the manager. As you are the implementing person, you know how the process will go, you are mapping in the system, but there might be some challenges coming which you are not able to find the gap. So you need to escalate the points to the management or your manager, and they can also have this steering committee meeting once a month or every 15 days interval whenever it is required. So the loopholes or something which is being escalated, that can be brought into the certain align with your project timelines. And one of the main reasons what I think, if client or anyone who is going to implement ERP get system failed, is there they are using some traditional approach or orthodox kind of thinking, going with that, where they are going with the pricing structure of ERP Next or any ERP. They will do the selection based on features or like Oracle, SAP, which is definitely, I will say, is not totally wrong, but it's wrong because they need to select that product which suits their business, which can fulfill their need. For next couple of years, you are going to run this system. So it's very important criteria becomes when it comes to the selection, whether the current system is going to help you in your long-term vision or not. Entirely, it will be focused on complete business. So it's important become to select the correct software. Now, let's take one example, and during the session, whatever I would be telling you, just align this visuality with that. I would suggest take one paper and pen if possible. And with this example, try to map the process, which I will be going into the further session telling you. So let's start. We have a client type. It's a SME client. Suppose ABC name. and they want to implement two modules, HR and payroll and accounts. And we have a team and timeline. So we have a two functional consultant, we have two developers, and the time period is around 6 months. So within 6 months, now we need to fulfill this requirement. We need to complete all the processes and give a final commitment that after 6 months, this will be operational. So once when we are starting 6 month implementation phase, how we are going to define that? So for that, we are going to make a plan. Your plan can be based on phase wise. That phase should be divided into months. That months should be again micro level management into weeks. Again, that week should be managed into a milestone, that every week what milestone you are targeting to achieve. So in certain order you need to follow. So I prepared for this 5 week plan, how structured phase execution we can perform. So during phase 1, we'll go with discovery and planning. This phase will last long from first to third week, where we'll be defining the scope freezing, process walkthrough, CRP session, and stakeholder mapping. In phase 2, we'll going with configuration and development from week 4 to week 10. We'll be planning for this, where workflow design, master data setup, and all these things will be coming. Once the week 11 to 24 has been started, means a phase 3 we are going to start. During that part, we will be going with various testing and training the end user. So in this, multiple use cases will come, UATs and module wise training, rollout, go live, everything is going to come within this phase. Again, that if someone required, this phase can be double. I have given in 5 phases, you can go with 10 phases, or you can just target with the milestone wise, that first milestone, second milestone. So based on that. So we have few of the template, which I would like to showcase you. And these templates have really helped us to achieve our targets. And if you want, you can just mail us. So we'll drop you with the template. So see, this is the first one where we are defining in the key phase wise. Based on the phases, which department we need to target: HR, projects, finance, admin, procurement. So like that. What could be the actionable plans? So any kind of actionable plans can come: documentation, UAT, demo sessions, walkthrough of the system. Then you can define ownership, expected end date, actual end date when you have completed, and status of that. We also have after phase week wise. So weekly target you can keep, in which week what plan you are going to take action plans and achieving for the target date. So just take one module, define your action plans, date by till when you can complete, who is looking for that, your remarks, if any escalation or something important point if you are having. Same way, another template, like you can define our modules, plan date, expected release date, expected sign off date, and when you are going for the production date. So if you are going into module wise module rollout, you can go with this. We also have a document tracking. So once you are going with the document tracking, so you will be having an idea, like for which document you have given as is to be, have you got UAT or go live sign off or not. So all the document you can keep a track record of it module wise. If something, there are other document that also is required for your project, so you can refer for this. and user manual tracking. Oh, we just do the project and we deliver it, but we are most of the time we miss to map the document, and that these documents are only the key. When the projects end, you will be getting a target that yes, this much was our scope, we have delivered this much, you have the sign-offs for everything you have delivered. So keeping the track record of everything in the ERP implementation is very much important. Let's get back to our PPT. Yes. So when we are talking about documentation, so this is one of the most important and critical phase of the project. As soon as we complete our CRP session, we move towards the documentation part, because whatever the discussion has been happened in during our CRP session, based on that, we are going to prepare a as is document. As is document is the document where the client or a business current process are being captured, and what are the limitations, system limitations, challenges they are facing. That is going to be mapped in as is document. Once you complete your as is document, you get the confirmation on that, you will proceed with the to be document. To be document is where you are going to propose the upcoming solution to them. What limitations and challenges they were getting in the previous system should not going to repeat into this system, or what the best you are proposing them. And gap fit document. So my suggestion would be, whenever we are going with to be document, parallelly we should prepare a gap fit document as well, because gap fit document is also a document where your standard ERP next or some customization which is very rigid at the point, which cannot be covered, but somehow you are trying to fit into the standard system, or you are suggesting a solution. So for that, so at the same time, your to be and gap fit, both the document will be get processed. And in some cases, you would be requiring to prepare a high level documentation and low level design documentation. So these both document are generally not used, but if you are working with like really big MNCs, PSUs, and government client, so definitely these are going to require. But in the case of SME plus, if they are asking, you can go with it. Otherwise, it's not required. So HLD is nothing where architecture and key design elements of the ERPNext system is being defined, and LLD is the technical document where we are just mentioning each and every doc type of ERPNext, explaining at field level which field has what kind of validations, what is the work of that workflow, if something is there. So that all things are basically we are capturing into low level design, and this document is mostly prepared by a tech lead, and high level design documentation is prepared by as a consultant BAs. Next stage, once we complete the documentation, implement the ERPNext the right way. So we have talked about documentation. Documentation journey started from where we have started with the CRP session. So first stage would be definitely CRP session, conference room pilot, where we are gathering the information about their business process, business logic, in and out everything from the root to upper level, what they are following. Once you are strong enough to understand everything of their businesses, you will be proceeding with the scope and documentation. One more thing in CRP session I would like to add. When we are going for CRP session, the best advice would be, let the client know that you are going to conduct a CRP session. For that, you would be requiring pre-document which have some high level understanding of your business, and they should also, the spoke or the stakeholders should be ready with the CRP session. So at the time when you are going to discuss every detail, it should not happen that they are blank, they are not understanding something, or from our end as well, we are also not understanding what was the scope and other things, So that for avoiding these kinds of limitations, we should be prepared well enough. Okay, let's come to point number 2, scope and documentation sign off. So as soon as we complete it, we'll go with the finalization of scope, then freezing with as is document, current system, and then to be document. If it required, go with BRD, HLD, LLD. But this is mandatory, as is and to be, and scope finalization. With this much work, within this much stipulated time, we need to deliver it complete. So then we have next stage, UAT and delivery sign off. So documentation done, moving towards implementation part. Implementing the ERP next for certain period, you are going with now user acceptance testing. During user acceptance testing, multiple use cases will come. They will be thoroughly going through that. All the criteria has been fulfilled. If some issues or enhancements are coming, you need to clear it out then and there itself. And once the sign off you are getting on those things, confirmation that we are now ready with all the stakeholders, you would be moving to the next stage, that will be the master data. Now, master data can be, as per my understanding, I would always go with master data after UAT phase, because we know now what we are going to deliver them. We have a complete idea, the fields and everything. So mapping after that, the master data would be easy. But in some cases, if you are going with the standard system, with very, very rare minimum customization, that time in the initial itself, you can share the master data template of the ERP Next. You can download it and share. So they would be ready with those data from the starting initial days itself. And whatever it can be, the master, like employee, their opening balances, when we are going to cut off, and student, if something they're using into education, so any kind of data. So that complete data, once it is ready, you would be deciding your cutoff and finalization date. During this period, we would be gathering a complete deadline that yes, this is the day where our go live activity will take place. This process will help you to faster and smarter rollout of each phase by phase your ERP Next journey and implementation process. Now, as we talk about go live, so that go live term, after UAT confirmation, go live to actually system live, there is a journey. And that is one of the critical phase of the project. When the development team, consultant, vendors teams, everyone is like, hurry that and focus that now in this couple of days, as well as end users, they will be also in a mode now. New something application is going to come, new software which we have to use from this and this date. So are we ready for that or not? So for that, completion of UAT, user acceptance testing, ensure all key users have successfully completed UAT with all the use cases. So once every stakeholders has been confirmed that yes, this UAT is being tested successfully, it is as per the process, what was required and needed, just fulfilling. You get that sign off done. Going with data readiness. Data readiness is the stage where you will be preparing your final master data, importing opening balance and employee master, everything, whatever it can be. That is prepared. put it into the system. Now you have to get validated from the client. And the client should tell, yes, these are my data, this is what we have shared, and you are fixing that. Now there would be no changes in that once after validated. Otherwise, at last date would be coming, no, this data is wrong, we need to change. Then you have to do a lots of preparation. So for that, to avoid, once you are uploading the data into the system, just get it validated from the client. Now, whenever we are going with the decision to take when we have to make the system live or operational for their use, so that date can be your month end or financial year consideration. So mostly, I find this thing that even into month end or quarter end of people generally not refer. Most of the businesses are ready to go with financial year end, because for that period they will get certain time to go with their legacy system and their current system. They can parallelly run, they can match that, yes, my data is coming accurately, and over here also that everything is being matched and balanced, so it can come up. So it would be a suggestion that going with the financial year end. So we need to decide that date when we are for operational use. As per your need or demand, you can refer that. Business freeze window. Once you decided that, okay, on this financial year end, we are going with new software. So just a day, 1 or 2, better it would be 2 to 3 days, just take to freeze all the transaction. And that would be going to your last date when you are going to use your system, legacy system. After that, when the next entry is going to happen, it is going to happen in your new system. So 31st March, we are closing. We have migrated all the data from legacy system to our ERPNext system. 1st of April, considering the system made it live. And once these things are everything ready, you need to get it management approval. Once they approve, even I would like to add one more point, I just forgotten. So a system dry test run. Once business this everything has been happened, you have entered opening and everything, just do a dry test run of the system. Whether once you are going to launch it on 1st April, your system is working perfectly fine with a fine tuning, with minimal error, on zero error. It's error free, I can say. And after that, take a management approval and go with it. Once they approve, your system is live. Now you are using your new system. Now, when the system is live, so what are the things we should follow post go live success factors critical to avoid system failure? System will be live, but you know what is going to happen if certain things are there which you are not going to follow, your ERPNext implementation will get failed. And it's not only that ERPNext, any ERP in this world will get failed if we are not doing ensuring this activity. And just I got two companies, very known companies name, that Dabur is one of the company, and Hershey's. Long back, around 20 years something back, they tried to implement ERP and they failed after implementing. So that's the point where it came out once the use case and case study has been made. So that time that users were not ready to accept that ERP. They were rigid enough to some orthodox kind of thinking. But eventually the person, those who are implementing ERP, they are also equally responsible. So to avoid those things, we should go with comprehensive user training, ensuring all end users are very well trained to use the system. They should have a confidence on them that yes, I can use this system properly without any hesitation. N number of times you need to give this training in multiple iterations. Even you have to go till the extent where you have to train single individuals, not in a bunch of group. System stabilization. For few days, you need to monitor, you need to fine tune the system during initial days of release. Once the end user started using the system, they will find certain challenges. They will get a error pop-up message. Some issue will come. You need to resolve that then and there itself on priority basis. So their operations cannot be stopped or it cannot be delayed furthermore. And ongoing support and handholding. So this is also somewhere connected with you comprehensive training and stabilization, like ongoing support and handholding. You need to go with at least around 2 to 3 months as the system goes live. So in a way that any issues are coming, you are resolving that. Now they know we have to use this system, so smoothly they can get adopt the ERP next functionality every day they have to use. So for that adoption purpose, to make the smooth system for their business process to run each and every day without any error or zero error free system, then these activities are important and these will only help us to avoid the failures. So once everything is done, go live has been done. Now post go live and support activity. So what will happen during this phase? We have made the system live. Now we need to provide them a support, and we also need to ensure during the go live these certain things are there. We need to follow up to make the user understandable and to achieve a good result. At the last, your outcome will should be go in such a direction that yes, this implementation was a successful implementation. For that, we Indictrans, after doing any ERPNext implementation, we have a hypercare support. So we smoothly do the transition from the implementation team to a hypercare team. Now, once implementation work is over, we are delivering to support team, and they are independently looking all the projects after implementation. So during few weeks or months, you have to be aligned with support team and work, because I feel this hypercare support we have, every organization should impart in themselves as a vendor. It really help any business to run smoothly after life, because most of the cases will be there like once you made the system live, now you have no trace, you just ran off. So for that, this support should be there. During that phase, monitoring each and every transaction and resolving user issues in real time, first thing. So for that monitoring transaction daily basis, you can put a report kind of thing that automatically reports are going to your management level, and like higher authority, they can look, okay, these users are using what kind of a transactions they are doing. Then hand holding user through a process, each and every process you are doing a hand holding and ensuring everything is moving fine. If any bugs are coming or some enhancement is required into the system, so we will be going with that training part. What will happen that we are not sure in any organization that person is fixed to whom you are giving training, but if you are into that period of support for around 1 year 2 year, whatever it can be, next user come, you can give them a training. And for other members also, if they are forgotten about something, some features or enhancement has been done, so it will be kind of a refreshment training for them. Again, the concept will be revised to them. Then weekly review meeting with them or their stakeholder department wise, you can keep a meeting and you can identify what challenges they are facing, where they are not able to understand the system, what gaps are coming, need to fulfill that. Ticket tracking system should be there. If you are having a support, definitely you will be having a ticket system, because once a client started operations fully on ERP Next, there would be certain queries coming or certain issues with, as per daily real time use case is different and UAT use case are different. So in real time, if any issues come, they cannot every time contact you or they will call you. So there is a ticket platform and it is defined with the SLAs criteria. You need to respond in that particular time. They can define it whether this is very high, critical, or what kind of they want. So like that. And over there you can resolve. So that is also a part of a tracking. Once you are doing these things, definitely user will gain a confidence and the stability of ERP Next implementation in any organization you are going to implement will help you. So we till now we just had talked about how we make a system live, UAT phase, then documentation part, CRP session part, support activity. So this was all about ERP journey. Now next we will be talking about when as a consultant you are going somewhere and you are implementing that. So what should be a consultant approach? So you are the key one who is going to implement that ERP. And working from this around from couple of years with various businesses, I've personally felt like every client have these three things in their mind. Apart from this, they will nothing will be mattering for them. First, ERP project implementation expertise. So first question would be, any client would be asking, how much year of ERP Next implementation do you have? It's not about experience also. It's about placing the right candidate at right client. Because once the client is giving a money, he would be expecting that this much big operations I'm going to run into my organization. So a valuable person will be doing my implementation, or they will be trusting your organization. That organization will place a good and strong enough person who has that business acumen to understand their business, to add values in their business, what the best practices is being followed. So placing a right employee or right expert in the implementation project is very important. Second, ERP Next product knowledge. So let's forget everything. Product knowledge is something which start from your zero level, because this is something, the first and primarily focus thing. You are going to implement ERP Next product and you're having you don't have a knowledge in this, then it would be a waste of going. So for that, once you are knowing we are going to work with this client and this is the scope of work has been decided, so start going through Frappe documentations, ERP Next documentations are there. Get the help, get your hands dirty into the process. Go as much deep as you can. Once you are ready with those things and you've done, you will be definitely having an idea on this knowledge part, because we have in ERP Next around so many modules are there. I personally only know around 3 to 4 modules That's it. So whenever any scope are coming or any new modules which we need to go and implement, so before that we start exploration. We go on docs and videos, whatever the content we can get, we get our hands dirty. And after that, we are having a knowledge about that. Even we should be little bit as a consultant, we should be aware about what are the standard functionalities and what are the customization. So it's always important to talk with the developers on this part as well, because as a consultant, you can commit everything that this could be happen, but it's totally not correct that everything can happen. Some things are having a limitation which required a proper solutioning. So for those few things, the customization would be required rather than a vanilla product. So for that, need to consult with your developer and then you propose a solution for that. Now the delegation part. So delegation is something. Let's take example. Myself, Sumit, and I am implementing a project for Vivo company. My timeline was decided for 6 months, and I have to deliver one payroll, HR and payroll module and finance module. So delay 6 months, we have a committed budget. This much budget is allotted for this particular project. You need to implement in that phase. And client will also have, okay, my legacy system is running. For next 6 months, I would be paying this much amount for my previous system because after this, my new system is getting ready and we are going to start with ERPNext. So they are also very much confident. Okay, we will start now with new software. But this will turn into a worst case, worst scenario, a nightmare once the timeline you exceed. Because from the client perspective, also, if we think what happened, they were paying for the legacy system, still they have to pay more. Their stipulated time was to start the new software after 6 months, which has not been fulfilled. Ideally, we failed to think of our vendor side or implementation partner. What would be happen? Your management has put it due for 6 months. Your resource allocation, that much resource was deployed for this much certain time. That budget was allocated. That is also getting deferred. Few extreme cases everyone can understand, but this should be, at least we should try to close it on time maximum. So like we have done all this, every detailed requirement, how to implement ERPNext in a proper way. And this was truly based on my experience, my team we have brought to you. So we derived one consultant formula, which is very much important to, you know, get get this understanding of this formula from yourself. Understand the business, not just the system. Implement with purpose, not just process. Deliver value, not just the software. With this, thank you everyone. Over to you, Sijal.
Yes, thank you, Sumit, for such a wonderful session. So before we begin with Q&A session, I'm dropping a feedback form in the chat box as our Q&A session begins. It will hardly take 30 seconds. So with the Q&A session, if you can fill that form, it will be great for us for the future session as well. So yes, we can begin with our Q&A session. Sumit, you can start.
Okay. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, please.
Sumit, many of them has mentioned in the chat box, so you can check over there.
Okay.
So you can stop the editing, no issue. And you can check.
Yes. So, Janak Acharya ji, you are asking about please provide a sample implementation file if possible. Definitely, I can provide you, but we'll try. We'll drop you the mail definitely. How do you measure? Okay, so Goda has asked how we can ensure that user has understand ERP next one or not. So that would be a very simple. Once you have given training, when they are going to really at real time use case they are going to implement, you will be having a track record whether they are doing correct or not. Because after once one entry he has done, you can check that and you can verify whether he has done or not. Even whatever the process training you are giving, you can just take one assignment based on that. So it can also help you. But again, I would suggest you better go with the video training and one-on-one training live. After that, just monitor the transaction what they are performing. Kamal Solanki has asked, do we have any architecture diagram for ERP? Yes, we have this architecture diagram. Even it is available on the ERPNext of Frappe website. You can refer from there. But we have a one detailed and good understanding one. We'll drop you that. So, Mustafa ji is asking, template should one use to gather all information from legacy system or key business? So in this, Mustafa ji, there will be many templates which you can refer, but you you can go with the process like standard ERP implementation, what you are going to give them a modules. If you are giving a HR module, so every in HR module, what you have a payroll, uh, you have leave type, then salary structure component, like this, having their data. That template you can share with them, and to keep a track record of that, what business knowledge you have gained, you can prepare one documentation or something, a template like as is to be and gap weight and what was the your expected date and timeline. So we have a couple of templates we can share with you. You can refer that, where you can track all of the processes in those things, your legacy system data, and what you are going to present as a business information as well. Yeah, I guess all the questions from the chat box are being completed. Still, if you anyone of you want to ask something, please go ahead. Hello, Sejal. So all the questions has been completed in the chat box.
Okay, does anyone has any more questions or we conclude the session? So I guess no one has the question. So anyone? So yes, so thank you so much, Sumit, for this insightful and practical session, and a big thank you to everyone who has joined us today. We hope that this webinar give you a clear understanding of how to approach ERPNext implementation with the right strategy and structure. As he always says, it's not just about going live, but about going live right. Before we close, we will really appreciate if you can take just 30 seconds to fill out the feedback form. I have already mentioned and shared it on the chat box, and a link of this form, and a link of this recording will also be shared with your registered and respected email IDs. And thank you once again for being with us. Have a great evening, and we are looking forward to see you in our upcoming sessions. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. The session.
Thank you so much.